Do you think that this law could still be stopped or reversed?
It has been stopped and rejected last year by the same mass demonstrations and protests from our European and foreign American partners. But it has been reintroduced despite the promise by the government that they will never do so. And the way they have introduced it and debated it in the parliament without allowing the opposition really to be present even does not make me hope that they are going to withdraw it. And frankly, by now, it doesn't matter very much whether they withdraw this law or not, because it's the whole picture that is very concerning. All other laws that have been running against the recommendations made by European Union in order for us to be able to apply for opening negotiation of accession. So it's a whole range of, on one side, laws that go against, the absence of laws that are required in the fields where we are supposed to make progress. There is nothing to be done. And the third part is the rhetoric, which is very anti-Western, anti-European, from the top to the bottom of the ruling party, from the honorary president, Ivanishvili, to all the leaders. They speak the same language and call our partners of 30 years that have really built our state and its independence and its development. They're called foreign agents that want to subvert the country, that want to destabilize, that want to overthrow the government. This is a very Russian language. That's Russia. Well, that's what Russia is always saying, and
Madam President,
what it is promising.
So how much concern has there been in your discussions with the US and with the EU, and what does this mean to possibly exceed EU membership?
Well, it means that we are at a very concerning point, that the measures taken and the turn taken by the authorities is not leading us in that direction. And that's why you see these massive demonstrations, up to 200,000 people, and it's a 38th day of demonstrations. And that explains, it's this major concern that we might be losing a very important chance, and that chance might not come back in the future. And that would be the responsibility of the government. So there is concern in the society, there is concern among our partners, but we still have a chance because we have close by elections next October. And I think that after this very clear demonstration, expression of the will of the people on the streets, now we need to have a very clear expression of the will of the people in the elections to confirm that the road they want is a road to Europe and nothing else. So it will be a kind of referendum.
Are you in the more immediate time actually concerned about the increase in violence and the crackdown on protesters?
I am concerned when you have in a row 38 days of demonstrations, while we are very pacific protesters. I have to underline that because there are basically young people, but not only. And there has not been one single car burnt or one shop vandalized during all these demonstrations. So that shows the type of demonstrations we have where people sing and dance. But of course, the violence that is exerted by the police forces and especially by special forces can always escalate. That's why I think that we have to be very careful, that our partners have to put pressure on the authorities to stop the intimidation that we have. People are arrested, including in their homes, because they have been seen and photographed on the demonstrations. So that should be the pressure that we need today from our partners, Europeans and Western partners. And then we will need support to prepare for the elections.
Madam President, you've called this this law a Russian law. Does this go to the fact that basically it's a battle in Georgia over who to align with, Russia or the West?
There is no battle in Georgia. Georgia, you have to remember, is a country that has been fighting for its independence from many countries over the centuries, but from Russia still since 1801. So it's very clear for us who is the country that wants to occupy Georgia, and who are our friends and partners that have been supporting Georgia's independence and development. And Georgia's independence is directly today for 80% of the population, and that explains the high numbers linked to Georgia's independence. We know that those two cannot be delinked. That's why such a reaction, and that's why such a strong support to our European future.
But why do you think the founder of the ruling party actually wants this law?
That you have to ask to them. It doesn't make sense. They might even have won the elections if they had not presented this law. And because their speech until now, their narrative, until even last December, despite some measures that were not very comprehensible, their narrative in December was that we are going toward the European Union. We are the ones that made that possible. And suddenly we have the narrative that you can hear in the speech of the president of the party, Ivanishvili, on 29th of April, which is a war on our Western and European partners.